All right, so the title of the presentation is How to Maximize Your Success in College. It's going to be me kind of telling my story and hopefully applying what I've learned to something that you can latch onto and help you figure out what are some of the good choices to make when you're going into college. And yeah, I've learned a lot throughout my time, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So hopefully you can hear my story and not make some of the mistakes I did and do some of the things right that I did. So we're going to start with high school, like what you can do in high school, uh, college, what are the things that matter, what doesn't matter, what's my advice, what did I do, and then we're going to talk about internships, primarily how to get internships because it's daunting and it's crazy. And there's like a lot of times where you don't get your first internship for like a couple of years and you think you'll never get one, but it's coming. You just need to know what to do. So we'll go in that order. About me, I graduated from Lane Tech in 2019 and I joined CEF that same year because my AP physics teacher taught me about he told me about it. He said like apply to this scholarship. Um, and I only really applied because all my friends were doing it. I didn't really think I would get any scholarships because my GPA wasn't that good, and I just didn't think it would work out. But I did, and I got it, and I wrote like a good essay, and I've gotten a lot out of it. There's great mentors here, and CEF is deeper than you think. Like there's a lot of people here that are very successful, and like they know what situation you're in, and they can help you with that. I'll talk more about that later. So now I'm an engineering mechanics student at University of Illinois. I'm finishing up my last year, and yeah, so let's get into the high school section. So yeah, here are my stats. I just wanted to start with this so you can have some context. Um, so yeah, like I said, my GPA wasn't that good. Like a 3.2 unweighted is like it's kind of tough. But I just I like to share that because like when people have a bad GPA or a bad SAT or just when one of these categories for them is lacking, they think they can't get in any good colleges, which is not true. So I want to like make sure you don't lose hope if you have one thing wrong with you because colleges nowadays look at a holistic approach. And I think things like GPA and SAT are kind of on the down low, or they're going down in importance. Like it's very important now to have a good essay. I've noticed like that's what people have been telling me. So anyways, yeah, I had these stats up here, and I one thing that helped that was unique about me, I guess, like I worked a lot of jobs in college. Like I worked every summer. I did the night shift at White Castle when I was 16, and I don't even know if that was legal to be honest. Like I don't know what the child labor laws, but like night shift for a 16-year-old. But yeah, it was fun. Scooter's Frozen Custard, that's downtown by Wrigley Field. You should check it out. Really delicious. And then I did like food delivery on my bike. I would go downtown with my bicycle and bike around, deliver stuff. It was pretty fun. And yeah, I worked as a summer camp counselor. I like working with kids. So about extracurriculars in high school. I think that's the most interesting part of high school to talk about, so I'll focus on that. This is a picture of me and math team in eighth grade. I looked pretty cool. I had like an awesome haircut, as you can see. So the thing about math team was I didn't choose to join math team. It was required by my school to join like a technical team. So I was like, oh gosh, I gotta go to math team. But I would go twice a week after school. And at first it was like, oh, I have to do more homework problems after school and before home. Like it's just like adding more homework. But then it was kind of like a social group. It was like all these people with similar interests, people that I would sit with these kids that were better at math than me. I would learn a lot from them. And eventually I liked doing it. It was like solving a Rubik's Cube or doing a puzzle or something. I'm sure some of you are in Science Olympiad or math team or academic clubs like that. It ends up being fun if you stick with it long enough. It teaches you how to think outside the box, math team in specific. And I think that makes you a better test taker. Like, I think being on math team kind of teaches you how to like succeed on tests without studying as much, if that makes sense, because you know how to like think outside the box and like come up with the answer without memorizing it. And yeah, so I got first place one time. Yeah, real good once and then never again. But yeah, that was my math team career. Oh yeah, I was in the ultimate frisbee team, and I never thought I would like join a sport or anything in high school because I did cross country once in eighth grade, and I never like bought the uniform, so I would just go in jeans every day after school and like just run in jeans. It was terrible. So I didn't want to join any sports. Um, but then I was like playing frisbee with kids on the front lawn, big front lawn at Lane Tech, and I went up to these like older guys, like seniors. I think I was a freshman, and I was like, "Can I throw around with you guys?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course." And they were all fun guys. They're all like poking fun at each other, but they were all like helping each other with their throws. And I was like, "Man, I'm really bad at ultimate frisbee, but I like these guys, so I'm gonna like start coming to the teams." Um, so I did ultimate frisbee in freshman year. Um, all the way up until junior year, and I got better and better. I would beg my friends to practice with me after class. I was like super obsessed with it. Um, I improved my grades because I would be like kind of excited to go to school because of this. Um, and I hope that all of you have a club that you really look forward to, along with like the technical ones, because like the technical ones aren't always as fun. I mean, they can be great, but like I hope you guys have something that you can really look forward to in school and have like a good group of people. Because yeah, you are a product of the people you spend the most time with. So um, if you want to, I mean, yeah, just find good people. So continuing on with the story, so yeah, we had like all the graduating seniors were all these people that joined the team at the same time, and they all graduated at once. So we like there's nobody left on the team. But I was like, man, I love ultimate frisbee. It's like the thing I look the one thing I look forward to in my day to day in high school. Like this is great. So what do I do? Like I don't know what to do. I have like five or six other people who are on the team with me. So I went to club day at my school. You probably all have club day, and I made like a poster board that would like okay, how can I attract the most attention to this team? Because like we need freshmen or else we're screwed. And then I asked like these people to borrow laptops, and we set up two laptops on our booth at Club Day, and like one had like professional ultimate frisbee highlights, like really cool videos, and the other one was like a sign up sheet where it make it like really easy to sign up so that you wouldn't have to like pull out your phone and do it. So yeah, so obsession with getting the club started up again. Club Day rolled around, and like a lot of people were watching the highlights, and they thought it was really cool. And I was like staying there, and I had never like sold anything before, but I was standing there at Club Day, like, "Hey, do you want to do you want to get in shape?" And then I would like bring them over to the table and explain like why ultimate frisbee would get them in shape and stuff, and like why it's the most fun sport and all that. So, anyways, that day we got 110 people to sign up, and then we retained about 20 to 30 of them for the whole year. So the team was revived. Um, Also, we didn't have a coach, and I found this guy to coach the team too. Oh yeah, then this is like a neat throw I learned. Um, Moving on. So general advice about extracurriculars in high school. And the reason I'm talking about extracurriculars so much is because like I think this is what I can pass my experience on with. Like if I was to give you advice about getting good GPA, like you probably know more about that than I do because I didn't have a good GPA. But when it comes to extracurriculars, I think that that's really why I got into like UIUC engineering. So that's why I'm talking about it so much. The general advice is don't do extracurriculars just to say that you did them. Like um, you'll see like Reddit r/ applying to college. Yeah, I was in rowing team. I was in math team. I founded a charity club that went to Africa. I cured cancer. Like you did all this stuff. But then you ask yourself like, are they happy? Like what are they doing with their like how much time do they have to like sit down, like just sit in a chair and calm down for the day? Like none. They have no time to themselves. Plus, if they're doing all those clubs, they're probably not getting in depth in any single one. And what you need to get into college is to have stories about times where you were deeply affected by the work that you did. And you can't have that if you are in 10 clubs. So, my advice is find a couple of clubs that you really love, and especially one that's like really fun, and then one that is technical. Like that's what I've heard works, but doesn't have to be exactly that. And memories last forever. SAT scores do not. Quick story about a guy from my high school is he was I think he got the best or the second best SAT score in my high school. He got a 1590. No, that was definitely no. I think that was the second best because there's this one kid that got a 1600 and went to Harvard, but then he got the second best. And I think, and he told us about like all the practice tests he did. He said his parents put him in like prep scholar, like SAT course, and that was like 2 weeks of his summer. And I'm like, your senior year summer you spent like in a prep course, like that's kind of sad. And then he would always talk about like all this prep work he did. Um, he was in all these clubs, like really nice guy, but like he just kind of came off as fake. And like you could tell that like everything he did was to get closer to a good college, and he ended up going to UW Madison. So like that's definitely not a bad school. It's a great school. It's just that like his whole like life goal was to get into an Ivy League school, and he didn't do it. And like what I was thinking is that if he just like calmed down and like spent more time enjoying his one or two extracurriculars and enjoying his friends, then like there would have been the same result, and maybe he would have even gotten into a better college because he would have had a better essay. I read his essay and it was like super uninspired. Um, so the point is, you only get to go to high school once, and uh, go to the school dance. I actually did not go to the school dance, and I regret it. So just there's a lot of opportunities in high school that are not academic. This is the only time you'll be in an environment like this, so enjoy it while also having good grades, getting a good SAT score. Um, and yeah, you're more than an engineer. You don't have to like be the kid that does math all day every day. Yeah. So let me get some water before we move into college. If you guys have any questions about the high school section, let me know.
Yeah, I think one of the questions I had was, how did you spend your high school summers?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always had a job. Like I always found a job just working at like a fast food restaurant or something. Just because like if I sit at home and don't do anything, I just go crazy. I don't know about you, but um and I also like really needed money, so that I mean that's not like a super inspiring answer. But another thing I would do is I would play Ultimate a lot, and like I would be out in the sun running around a lot, which like I think that I've heard that improves your mood and stuff. And like finally, I spent a ton of time with my friends. Like every week we would hang out and get into crazy adventures. Um, so it was not too much of one thing, but yeah, every summer I had a job. So I think every summer since I was like 15, I've had a job just because I really like working. So if that's what you like, do that. But if you're passionate about volunteering, I would recommend that. Um, I mean, I'm not passionate about like working at White Castle, but you know what I mean. So okay, so college. I started college in fall 2019, and it was crazy. Like you go in there, and you're in a dorm hall, and there's just like within like a 10 by 10 square foot space, it's you and your roommate, and that's like all you have. And then there's like rows and rows of people like everywhere. It's pretty fun. Like it's pretty exciting, honestly. But there's like some people like you just get put in with whoever's there. Like you don't get a choice. I mean, you can choose your roommate, but I mean like the people down the hall. So the guy next to me was like this guy who'd play Overwatch every night, like until like 4 a.m. And he would get really mad at the game, and he'd like start screaming and stuff while I was trying to sleep. Um, but yeah, the first year of college is fun. There's so many people you can meet. Um, I remember one time I was at the grass field outside my dorm, and there's people playing frisbee. And like as you know, that was kind of my thing going into high school. So I went up and threw around with them, and it was like a friend group that I already formed. And so I played with them for a bit, and I was like, "Hey, you guys all want to come check out my dorm?" Um, I don't know why I said that, but like I don't know, I wanted some friends. So we all went to my dorm, and I showed them my setup with the like tiki lights and the like TV on the top of the mini fridge. And then we were best friends after that. Rest is history. And then I remember we came back to my dorm one day, and like we took the guy's couch from one of the other dorms on the fourth floor, and like somehow got it outside of the dorm and inside of my dorm, and we brought it like into my dorm. So we had like two rows of couches, and it wasn't big enough, so like one of the couches was in the hallway, so we had like the whole dorm hallway like watching a movie. Like half of them were outside the door. Yeah, that was kind of funny. So yeah, so then it hits you. You're in engineering school. This is going to be difficult, right? Um, so things that I did not do right the first semester was I didn't really talk to people in class at all. I just had friends that weren't engineers and like only hung out with them. And yeah, like that doesn't really lead anywhere career wise usually. So I would say talk to people in class, like sit in a different place every day. First week is crucial. Like you talk to people. I mean, people like stop moving around seats after the first couple of weeks. So you make friends so that you can form a study group. Um, it's so much nicer to study in a study group in college, um, because everyone's motivating each other. And then yeah, like for me, like raise your hand in class, because if you're like kind of passively listening or passively note taking, you might not learn as much. And like raising your hand in front of a lecture hall with like 100 people literally like spikes your adrenaline. And I like read some research about how when you're nervous, you learn more. So you go outside your comfort zone and talk to your professors, and like sit in the front row is my advice. So yeah, talk to your professors after class. That's another. It's a kind of nerve wracking to do that sometimes, especially if you're just a freshman. But if you become friends with your professor, they'll be more willing to help you out with the homework if you need questions later on, and they might even like give you an A when you should have had a B. That actually happened to me once. So yeah, and go to office hours. They're like really they're amazing. Um, Like you might want to spend as little time as possible, like doing that stuff. But office hours, it makes if you go to office hours, you're gonna spend less total time on your homework. I'll tell you that. So how to finish your homework really fast. Um, so compared to high school, you spend a lot less time in class. Like a if you have a 16 credit hour course load, you're spending about 16 hours a week in class. So compared to high school, what do you guys, you're in class for like 8 hours for 5 days, 40 hours. So you're in class like a third or a half of the time that you are in high school. But don't let that fool you. So the homework definitely takes longer. Like you might have less total question, like it's less tedious work, I think, than in high school. But the homework is harder and you need to like really like watch videos and like figure out how it works. Like just going to lecture often won't be enough to do the homework in my experience. So um I think like what happens in high school is that you have school and then it ends at like 3 and then you do your homework after, or like you do it at night maybe, or I don't know, do you guys do your homework right after school or do you do it at night usually? No.
Usually like at the night.
Yeah, we have like extracurriculars and stuff, so we end up doing like later.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Is it hard to do homework at night? Like, I'm always so tired.
I always like doing homework early in the morning, actually. I sleep early and then I wake up super early, like 4:45, and then depending on the
Ooh.
day, and then I
Okay.
get done.
Wow, that's impressive actually. Yeah, I was just gonna say that doing your homework in the morning. I mean, some people are night people. What's that writer? And anyways, there's a writer I like who does all his writing in the middle of the night. But for me, like morning person. So in college, you're not in class all morning. So I like you got to do your homework in the like between classes and in the morning. That'll really help you. Don't take it from me. Take it from Teddy Roosevelt. So Teddy Roosevelt he went to Harvard, I think, and he was in like the wrestling team. He was in like the conservationalist team. He started the national park, so it makes sense why he would be in the conservational or like the environmental team or whatever. He was in like all these clubs, and he was like leaders in all of them, and he was like really athletic. Uh, Wrong slide. But he was also like studying at Harvard. So how did he get all this stuff done? Oh, and yeah, I forgot to mention he was like number one in his class. So how did he do all that? What he did was he set a time frame from 7 to 4 every day, which is like typical of like a high school day in class. And he would just do everything in that time. And like he wouldn't even let himself do homework after 4. He would like get up really early, start his homework just like Eamon, and he would go to class. And like one of his coworkers described him as working with like blistering speed as he'd finish a whole assignment in 1 hour. So I'm not saying like you can all do that. Like I'm pretty sure he was a genius or something. But like that kind of time blocking will really help you not procrastinate, um, which is something I've struggled with definitely in the past. So let's talk about your GPA in college. Um, what are your guys' GPAs right now in high school? 4. Unweighted. 4. Everyone?
3.9.
Okay. All right. So still really good, right? So everyone here's got a GPA probably over 3, over 4, 3.5, maybe even close to 4, like these three. And yeah, you guys worked really hard for that. Congratulations. For a lot of people in college, it's going to be really difficult to get a GPA close to 4. And you can do it, but it might take all of your time. For example, getting a GPA of 3.6 might take 60% of the work time that it takes to get a 4.0, because these professors grade so harshly sometimes that if you get one question wrong, on an exam, you get like an 80 or I don't know, like you just like they'll look at all of the work that you do in a question and like especially math professors, they'll be really hard on you. So I don't want this to come off like don't study because obviously you need to study a lot. But just like high school, you only get to go to college once and it's like a really unique experience. So don't spend all of your time studying to get a 4.0 because there's really no point. I actually was talking to a guy who works at, I think it was Fermilab. It was at a career fair. And he told me that, so he works at Fermilab. He's like, yeah, I had a GPA of 3.97 in high school, in college. And I was like, wow, like, how did you do that? And he said, like, I studied my butt off. Like, that's it. I study my butt off every day. And he actually told me that he regrets it. Like he said, like I regret it. I regret not doing extracurriculars and just like studying all day. Like I can never get that time back. So he told me not to over stress about GPA like he did. So that's just what he told me. Yeah.
So I've always had the feeling that a GPA is a reflection of how much you've mastered the content you're learning. And
Yeah.
so if I don't have a high GPA, I feel like, hey, I'm just kind of wasting my time in class. I don't know what the teachers are trying to tell me. Do you feel like in college, is it still possible to have like that 100% mastery? Or because you're saying that it's hard to get a really high GPA, do you feel like you just kind of balance it out and be like, I have to give up on understanding some of this stuff to get by and pass this other test for a different class?
Um, Honestly, like the tough answer is yes. You can't master everything, I don't think. And if you do, then like you're not gonna have time for anything else. But what I will say is that like there's gonna be classes that you're very, very passionate about. Like I've had that and I've gotten an A in those classes. And you can really like hone in on that and like get a good relationship with that professor. Um, but I think you can achieve, yeah, so I think I've had classes where I got a B in them, but I still felt like I was achieving mastery. It's just that like some of the students did better, you know? Um, so yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but like no, I don't think you can be like a perfect master in every college class because it's like so like some of the classes get so specialized that the professors worked for 20 years to get where they are. And a lot of the content that they put out is like stuff that's even hard for them. So just imagine that. So yeah, I wouldn't say to like care about your GPA less. I would say to put other stuff as a priority and do it the best you possibly can on your GPA while enjoying yourself, making friends, joining clubs, and growing as a person socially. So moving on. Yeah, so here's some proof about that GPA thing. I don't know I don't know if you guys know yet, but I don't know if you know yet what you're going to do, but you can go to grad school, you can go to a job, you can get a master's degree. Um, Specifically, if you're getting a job, this is a study, I don't have sources, but this is a study where it showed like the difference in attributes that got people hired after college. And so college, I don't know if this is a survey from employers or if it was like actually who they chose is what this ended up being, but yeah, so internships were by far the most important employment during college. What I've heard from a lot of interviewers or just people that work at companies who hire interns is that they don't want somebody who's green, like somebody fresh off the street who doesn't know what they're doing, because they'll disrupt the workflow, and they need somebody who like shows up on time every day and someone who like understands what it's like to like talk like somebody who's worked an office job. And that's why it's like that was like a weird thing that somebody said to me is like you need to know how to talk like somebody who's been in an office job. but it's true, and that's one of the big reasons, like it's corporate speak, and it's one of the big reasons why it's so hard to get your first internship. So just think about why are you going to college and what you can best do to achieve that goal. Yes, amen.
So I know you said you did a lot of jobs in your high school summers,
Yeah.
even if they were kind of like normal jobs, like they weren't specifically related to engineering or math or anything like that. Do you
Mhm.
think there's still value in getting those like work or volunteering experiences that are pretty far from what your specific major is? And do they still help you get internships or jobs in your major area?
So it depends on if you're talking about high school or college. Definitely in high school, getting jobs that are not related to engineering is a really good thing. Um, I would say if you're trying to find a summer job in college, I don't know if that's what you meant, but if you're trying to find a summer job in college, try to get it as close to your field as you can, but it's not always going to work out that way. For me, my first internship was not an engineering internship. It was actually a product manager internship, but I worked closely with engineers to do that. So it was like as close as I could get it without getting rejected from the job. So um, yeah, absolutely. It's useful to take jobs that are not close to engineering, but just do your best to make it as close to your field as you can. Yeah, Kaylee.
This is kind of going back to the high school section, but you mentioned earlier that you valued having experiences as well as academics. And so, did you write about that in your essays? Like what were like the big topics or things you wrote about in your essays?
In my college essay, well, I can show you my essay if you want. Well, I don't know. I don't really want to pull it up right now, but I can share it later. I wrote about, for my U of I essay, I started with an anecdote about violin, I think. It was like, I don't know, someone told me that like when you start a college essay, the first paragraph should be like a really powerful hook anecdote, like something that's gonna like really like nestle in their mind. So what I did was like I told like an emotional story about like violin, and then I kind of related that like the depth you go into learning violin to like the depth of engineering and math and stuff like that. And then in the second paragraph, I remember using a lot of verbal flourishes like a passion for math that like extends deeper than the deepest pits of the ocean. I think I said something like that. So I was being like super flowery. And then in the last paragraph, I think I talked about like logically why I would be a good, like specifically what I've done that would make me a good fit. It was a long time ago, but that was generally what it was about. The biggest thing that people told me was like they really liked my anecdote in the first paragraph, and it like one guy was like, "Oh, I got chills." I didn't even think it was a good anecdote, but it was just like super emotional. I guess other people liked it. So yeah, just be vulnerable in part of your essay, but it should not all be about that. So I hope that makes sense. I can share it with you later if you're interested.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. We could, if you're comfortable, we could send it out on our uh like wrap up email as well.
Yeah, sure. I actually didn't know if my essay was good. I remember spending like a whole weekend on it, like literally a whole weekend because I was so obsessed with getting into this school. So but then I actually talked to the admissions office at my school, and I was like, "Can I see the application and like what you guys graded it?" And they just let you do that. You can just go in and ask. So on the comments of my like application, they were like good essay, like not very good GPA, but then like all the stuff, yeah. But they said it was a good essay, so I'll show it to you later. So internships. Let's see how are we doing on time, by the way. Okay, we have plenty of time. So yeah, this is my internship path. I drew this like this morning, so it's kind of sloppy, but this is my college career path. So this is a freshman. I'll explain it, and then I'll go through like key points about what you should notice about this. Freshman year, I went to the career fair, didn't really take it that seriously, applied to like 10 jobs, no interviews, not one. And then, so the next year I was trying to like build some value in myself, joined the, it was this team where we were building like a drone that has tilt wing rotors, and then I became the mechanical lead, and then I got the opportunity to like teach people CAD and all that. So that was like the first sort of valuable thing to employers that I did in college, and then I applied to 25 jobs after that. I had some friends that applied to like 110 and got like one interview or something. I applied to 25. I got a few interviews, no offers. Like I bombed the interviews. I had a monotone voice like the entire time. Didn't tell any good stories. Like very nervous. So then after that, I started working on personal projects in I think it was the winter specifically when I did that. I had like a lot of time to myself at home, so I built a pretty cool personal project in my dad's basement, and then I also built like a motorized bike, and then this gave me like excellent fuel to talk about in interviews. Like these personal projects were just something that I could like totally rant about in any interview I was in, and people would just like, it's a project that I did, and it's something that I worked hard on and had to solve like really complex things to do, and like I found it very fun. So the combination of that made it really easy to talk about and also impressive. So this is when I started getting offers. So yeah, I was working a job on campus. So Amy, you might be interested in this. I was working in like a makerspace, which is like very related to engineering, but it's not very time consuming. So you just go in and help people through your print stuff. So there's jobs around that, like that on campus where you can work in an engineering lab and stuff like that. So anyways, I applied to 30 jobs or so. I got like 5 interviews, rejected from more than half. I got 2 offers. One of them was for a like engineering leadership development position at Atcore, and Atcore makes electrical fittings and like small plastic parts for electronics. Super good internship, super boring company. The other offer that I got was at a lock company, and it was for product manager intern. And I was like the title for this other one's better, but like I'm probably gonna hate it there. And then the lock company, I really like locks. Like I think they're very cool. So I went with that one. And that was my first internship. And then once you get your first internship, it's really not as hard anymore. It's still hard, but it's like so much, it's like the weight is lifted off your shoulder. So then after that, I applied to a co-op. I was applying to a bunch of jobs after that internship. Applied to a spring co-op because I wanted to take a break from school and I wanted to work again. So first engineering internship, this one was actually an engineering co-op. So that's, yeah, go ahead.
Just for everyone here, can you explain what a co-op is?
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot people don't know about that. So an internship is 3 months during the summer. A co-op is longer than 3 months, and it's usually during the spring or the fall. And with a co-op, you generally have like a mentor at the company that you work with. Like it's a cooperative experience with that mentor is like what co-op means. So what you can do is, especially if you're one of those people that is going to graduate early because of AP credits, you can do a spring co-op instead of going to school and then just pick up where you left off after that. And the nice thing about co-ops is that they're a lot easier to get than internships because there's way less applicants. because like a lot of people don't want to do a job during the spring or the fall. So yeah, so I moved from a product manager internship, and then I got an engineering internship. So it went like from here to here, working my way up. And then, so simultaneously, I was applying to Tesla. I applied to a lot of different positions there. It's like really easy to apply to a lot there because you can just resubmit the same application. So I had an interview with Interiors, and they, I don't know, I wasn't feeling well that day, and I didn't answer the question well, rejected. But then I like somehow, I think the recruiter liked me or something, so she got an interview with a different team, accepted. And yeah, I can go into more detail about that, like if you want, or maybe another time. Like there's a whole long story about this Tesla journey, but I ended up last summer as an intern at Tesla after all this. And I want you to notice about this graph that like I was rejected for like 2 straight years, like no internships, nothing. But I really don't blame them. Like there's no value here. Like I have no course load. I had no leadership positions. So kind of through trial and error, I found out like what gets you an internship. It's like leadership, it's personal projects with like pretty pictures that you can show people. I took a lot of cool pictures and showed them at the career fair. Working in leadership, teaching people is really big. Teaching people how to 3D print, and so it's gonna this left side of the graph is like the pit of despair. It's like you think you're never gonna get an internship, but then you do. Unless you give up, then you never get an internship. So never give up. Your first internship. I'm gonna talk a little bit about advice on how to get your first internship. You guys are a little, I mean, I guess you're not as far off as you think from getting your first internship, because a lot of people get an internship in freshman year, and sometimes they even get one before college even starts, which is, I didn't do that, but like you could even do that. So this information might be useful to you. So yeah, find a company with fewer applicants. Like I just found this page today, 474 applicants for vehicle hardware at Tesla. It's outrageously oversaturated. Like it's insanely oversaturated, and they're only going to accept like one person for this. So if you're, especially if you're a first time applier, like just stay away from this. It's not going to work out. Like if you want to work at Tesla or something for your first internship, go for like a spring or fall. Like even the best of the best, like there's these guys who are alumni from CEF. They're a year older than me. Matthew and Michael Cadis. They've worked at Tesla, SpaceX. They've worked at Caterpillar, Johnson and Johnson. Their resume is extremely stacked, but their first internships were not brand name internships. So how do you find a company with fewer applicants? Instead of going on LinkedIn and like sorting by most interesting, like don't do that. Like obviously the ones sorted by top on LinkedIn are going to have the most applications. Like don't apply to those for your first internship. What I would advise you to do is to make a spreadsheet, write down the industries that you think are cool. Like say like kitchen appliances, like coffee makers, you think that's cool, or motorcycles, you think that's cool, or like solar cells, you think that's cool, and then write down like 10 companies that do that stuff, and then literally go onto their go onto their like main website, scroll all the way to the bottom and click careers, and then like filter through and find intern, and you're gonna find these positions that like almost nobody knows about because their marketing department dropped the ball, and they're gonna, like I found out from my first internship, like I don't even think more than like 10 people applied. So that's a really good way to get your first one. Yeah, so you're gonna have to go through an interview with a recruiter. I think I'm gonna kind of speed through these last sections because I want to get into like the questions. Interview with a recruiter. Don't say anything that'll disqualify you. Like, don't say, like, if they say like, are you willing to relocate? Don't be like, I don't know. Just say yes. And then impress them by like talking about some topic you're very knowledgeable about, and you can steer the conversation in that direction. You don't want to be stuttering about like some circuit thing that you don't know about. And then with the engineering manager, which is like the actual technical person you have to talk to, bring the energy. You got to be like loud and proud and like kind of like smiling, and you're not monotone. This is what I wish I could tell to my freshman self. Don't be like that. So, and then what you need to do is like rant. You need to rant. You need to think about something that like really plucks your emotional cord, and then just like let it out. And then I've never not gotten passed on to the next interview stage when I've ranted about something. I'm serious. Like, I've never been rejected when I've done that, because like nobody else does that. Like, people will be like, yeah, I like built a circuit in high school, like, but nobody like rants for like 5 minutes about like don't even stop. Like, don't even be worried about how the interviews, like, oh, you're taking up too much time. Oh no, like it's gonna end. Like, no, if they like you, they're gonna keep talking to you for like a half an hour more or 45 minutes more than they should have. So you need to like just, yeah, really get serious about that. And then how to get an internship. This is really helpful for remembering what to say. It's something that I used to, like, my first ever internship, I think there was honestly like a moment where I just like stopped. Like, they asked me a question, I was just like I didn't know what to say. So yeah, so take a look at this thing over here. I wrote this morning too. But this is always what I do before an interview, is I make like a one pager. What questions do I think they will ask me? And you can literally find out the questions that people ask on glassdoor.com. If you look up the company, it'll tell you. And then like, tell me about yourself, or like, why do you choose this company, or like specific question X. You prepare a relevant story for what that is, and then tell it to them in like STAR method. And you'll learn about what STAR method is. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, so just, you guys will see this presentation later. Just read through these. They're pretty useful, like different ways to find internships. Talk to people from CEF. I had 2 mentors from CEF. They're both, one of them is gone now. His name was Paul Barter. He was like a global engineering manager at this like skyscraper company. Like, really, really smart guy. Taught me a lot of things. You can reach out to CEF members anytime you want. They have a wealth of experience, and they have been in our position and succeeded, which is why they're where we are today. So they'll have even much better advice than I have, because I'm only a college senior. So talk to them. Yeah, my next steps after college are, I'm applying for full-time jobs right now. I'm just starting. I'm interested in, I had an interview with Neuralink. I might pursue that. I don't know if I want to live in California, but so that's one. And then I want to work at Radio Flyer company in Chicago. They build like wagons and e-bikes. I would love to work at like Lego someday. I think that would be awesome. So next summer, what my plan is I got a buddy that I work on motorcycles with, and we're gonna rent a property and set up a fab shop. So we're gonna start our own business, selling products on Amazon for motorcycle parts, and it's gonna be next summer. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Thank you all for listening to my presentation. I thought it was really fun to present and talk to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. and let's get into questions, or we can just talk for a little while after. I'm not sure how much time we have. So,
We have just a couple minutes, but I'll go ahead with one question.
yeah.
And everyone else other than Kaylee and Siri, if you guys have questions, please feel free to speak up. I think you didn't go a lot into depth about your degree specifically. I know you said you enjoyed working on some projects that were related to like engineering mechanics, but before, when you were first entering college, why did you decide to go into that major? Did you switch around a little bit, or were you like, this is the way for me?
Yeah, I switched around a little bit. Freshman year, I was engineering undeclared,
Mm.
which is like declared, but you're in engineering. And I like thought I would be a CS major, and then I took a CS class, and I was like, holy crap! And then I dropped it, and I decided I would not be a CS major. And then I just like tried like, a lot of self-reflection, like what was I good at as a child, and it was like definitely building things and working with my dad in the workshop and woodworking. And I'm like, okay, what major represents that? So mechanical engineering or engineering mechanics, they're both very similar. So that's why I chose that major. And it's been a really good choice because I love CAD now. I didn't know about it earlier, but yeah.
For sure. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It was like really fun and I really enjoyed it.
No, thank you.
Could you elaborate a little on like what you did at Tesla, like your specific role as an intern?
Yeah, I was a seat engineering intern. I was in Fremont, California. They had an R&D engineering building, and then we had like there was four. It was like set up in rows, and there was 4 rows of us that were all in seating. So there's a whole team of like 30 to I think it's like 60 people, including all the world, that just make the seats that go inside Teslas. And it's like a self-contained business in itself. So what I did was I learned a new 3D modeling program while I was there, and I had to like rebuild a part that's going in the Cybertruck and modify it and make it. So if you buy a Cybertruck and you like take the headrest off, um, you'll see a part that I made, which is pretty cool. And I also had to go to the factory floor a lot and try to resolve issues that were happening. And yeah, so I worked under like the foam engineer. He's like the head foam guy for Tesla. So he taught me a lot about engineering drawings and like how to fix tearing issues. And we visited a foam plant, and so it was a mixture of design work in CAD was half my projects, and then going to the factory, the seat factory specifically, and like figuring out why X is failing and like trying to fix that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you.
Hmm. Does anyone who's muted have questions prepared from yesterday? Um, yeah, yeah. So you guys are doing great. Yeah, with
Yeah.
such a good GPA, if you have good extracurriculars, like I'm sure you'll get into the colleges that you want. Just remember that if you're trying to get into like an Ivy League school, um, there's got to be something that like sets you apart from the rest. Like I don't know if you've heard that, but just having perfect stats is not a valuable commodity to them because they have so much of it. So if you can say something in your essay or say something in your interview that like tugs at the heartstrings, then they're gonna the what do they call it? The recruiter is going to be like thinking about you. Like, you're gonna be living rent free in their head. So like they're gonna like be like, okay, between these two, who do I pick? And then it's you. And that's genuinely how I think I got the Tesla job with very little. I only had like one internship before that. Was because I just like really connected with the interviewer, and I remember asking a lot about his career, and I told him like how interested I was in like what he does, and it's not all about you when you're interviewing, it's about the interviewer too. And that goes for a college interview too. Like they really want to be validated, which is like something you don't ever think about when you're interviewing, because you're proving yourself. Like that's what an interview is, you're proving yourself. But if you can like step outside yourself and have empathy, then people will really remember that.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you. And then I guess I'll ask one final question. Oh wait, actually there's one from the chat. How did you decide to do your personal project on motorcycles?
Well, yeah, so that for that project, I had a buddy who built a motorized bike, and then that winter after he started doing that, like we built one together, and then I started building them by myself. So that was my best friend from high school. He never went to college, but he's smarter than 99% of the engineers I've ever met. He builds motorcycles from scratch, and he found he found a motorized scooter in the alley, like covered in rust, and took it home and like made it work. It was crazy. It was like just so this guy was really smart. So he was my mentor for a while. Was just my best. Well, we teach each other stuff. Um, like I taught him a lot about academic stuff, and I taught him about CAD and how to 3D print and how to design a product. And he taught me how to like fix these mechanical systems that are like you look at them and you're like, oh my god, like how does a motorcycle work? Um, yeah, and then it was fun because I started incorporating 3D printed parts into the motorized bike. Like I would make like cases and covers for it. I have to like CAD them out. Like it was very challenging, but so the way that you can find a personal project is like maybe you can just start doing something with a friend for fun. And when I started these personal projects, I wasn't even thinking about internships. Like I don't even remember thinking about that. It was like, okay, I liked Assassin's Creed when I was a little kid, the game, so I'm gonna build a hidden blade. Um, and then it just ended up like, yeah, just because I was doing it for myself, it allowed me to like really just let loose. Like, okay, I'm doing this for me, not for anyone else. So I would go in and like I'd be very inspired by that. And yeah, because if you're doing a personal project just to impress somebody, like where are you gonna get the motivation to like really do a good job, you know? So yeah, this winter break when you have like all that time off, just think about it. What is something that you've been wanting to do? And like better yet, do it with your best, like you three meet up and do something, you know, build a talking robot or something or whatever it is. Well, I mean, that would be if you're a mechanical engineer. It depends on what major you want to be. If you want to be a software engineer, like I don't know, like what club are you? What's your favorite club, Eamon?
It's a little bit out of the box. Well, not out of the box. It's out of the blue compared to what we're doing here, but my favorite club is policy debate because I joined it a long time, not related to engineering or math.
No, yeah, of course. And then what major do you think you're gonna be in college?
Maybe physics. I'm not really sure, but I think that's what I'm most interested in right now because I did some stuff over the summer and I found it super cool.
Hmm. Hmm. Personal project. You could host a debate about physics in your basement. um, yeah. But anyways, there's a lot of ideas that you can come up with. Um,
Yeah, and I think it's really fun when you try to like merge multiple things together, like what you're saying. So it's not all about a certain topic, and you can have like people from multiple clubs that you're doing or multiple areas of your life.
yeah. I mean, you are, as well as you're a product of the people around you. You're a product of you're a sum of your cumulative experiences. So, all the masters in history have incorporated everything they've loved into like one big thing. Like Da Vinci, when he was a kid, was obsessed with animals and plants, and discovering like how life was created, and then he became passionate for art later. And then he became passionate for science later, and then like he put all three together and made like these human-centered design. Like he made a wingsuit, and if you think about that, it's a mixture of like the evolutionary theory that he's interested in, 'cause of the wings, and then it's a mixture of like how like human anatomy, because it like it merges to a human part, and then it's also like the engineering and science that he got into later in life, and like that his specific mixture is like what made him famous, because he did something that no one else could do. Anyways, I think we're like way over time, so yeah.
Yeah, if no one has any other questions, we can wrap up now. We're gonna send another wrap-up email after this with notes from the meeting as well as like links and stuff. So thank you for presenting to us, Henry. It was really fun, and I think it was very meaningful, and I think it's helpful for like the future of, you know.
Yeah, of
Thank you so
course.
much. It was-
Anytime. And yeah, thank you for saying that. And if anyone has any other questions, you can reach out through CEF. Yeah, and I'll share my college essay with you.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you guys. You seem like super smart people. So good
Thank
luck in college.
thank you. Bye.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.